Hello, I'm Paul.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Ben.
And welcome to the Filmbusters podcast. The film show with no filters, no prisoners taken, loads of disagreements, but one hell of a love for cinema.
If you want to hear three friends ridiculing each other for an hour or so regarding their taste in films, then you have come to the right place.
In each episode, one of the team picks a film for us to discuss. It could be anything from a recent cinema release to an all-time classic.
So, strap in and get ready to get mad or get vindicated as we guide you through the murky world of being a film geek.
If you like what you hear, you can also find us on Twitter and Instagram using @FilmbustersPod. You can also find each of our individual accounts. I'm at Filmbusters Paul.
I'm at Filmbusters Adam.
And I'm at Filmbusters Ben.
If you want to use your eyes instead of your ears, you can also visit the website at filmbusterspod.co.uk.
And if busting makes you feel good, you can also support us at patreon.com/filmbusters for exclusive content.
Alright, can we just get on with this now, please?
Filmbusters.
Right, everyone, today we're one buster short. Adam isn't here, he's on holiday. And we've been hearing you. We've been hearing you all saying, who are your special guests? Well, now you know. The MovieDrone boys are coming on the podcast at last.
Oh, excellent. They're going to be in the studio directly very soon.
Yes, it's all very, very exciting. It's been a long while coming. We were on there to do Cliffhanger, and now they're on here to do Ravenous. What a film to do.
I know. It's a funny film because it's the link between our podcasts in a weird way, mainly because of Luke Human, our dear listener Luke, who constantly uses the GIF all over Twitter.
Absolutely.
So he's had words about it with us. He's had words about it with them. I'm pretty sure everyone had already seen it before we came to this episode. Anyway, so
might as well fill out that bingo card. Hit bingo,
fill out that bingo
and
card.
have every have it in every location. Ravenous in every orifice.
Yes. Speaking of being ravenous, I haven't even got a link for that. Said that without even thinking of something clever to link to.
Speaking of being ravenous, Adam's eating loads of Moroccan food right now.
There's the link. He is. That's where Adam is. Morocco of all places. What's he doing over there, for God's sake?
I don't know. He's been sending us pictures of goats in trees.
Oh, yes. They're all over that tree.
Loads of goats. There's probably about 20 goats in one tree.
And he's got one goat in his arms, or I think his partner has the goat in her arms.
Chelsea snatched a goat from the tree, from its mother, probably.
Yeah, from its natural habitat.
Goat's bleating. It's bleating everywhere, going, bleat! Where's my child?
I know, and then...
Adam's wife stolen it.
And then they ordered goat curry that night in Morocco.
Oh, very sad.
You know they did.
Oh my God.
Can I ask you a question?
Wouldn't that be so horrible if you had to pick the goat you wanted? Oh!
Well, I'll tell you this. Here we go. Have you ever had goat curry?
I probably have.
It's very nice. But as someone who is... You're a vegetarian.
I'm vegetarian now.
I'm a carnivore. I'm as carnivore as they come. Although I don't really eat red meat that much. My logic is, if I could kill it humanely as possible, considering it like killing of animals is horrible, obviously. But if I'm going to kill one so I can eat it, I draw the line at I won't eat something that I couldn't imagine killing if I had to. And I couldn't kill a goat, to be quite honest. Well, no, I could. That's why I would eat goat curry. I could take a goat, yeah.
What if it's one of those ones that go with their tongue out?
Well, that's even easier, isn't it? It's just an annoying goat at that point, so I'd definitely kill that one.
Knock him out.
If it was just looking at me with a tilted head sweetly, how could I kill it? I couldn't. What is the animal you would most likely kill first? If you had to.
Like the most annoying animal.
But to eat.
I couldn't imagine killing any animal.
I know.
There's just something in me that just stops.
Yes, but if you're dying on an island,
that's
it's you
different.
or the animal.
Is if I'm so ravenous.
Exactly. So if
I'll
you're
be
ravenous,
eating the human first.
But you're the only human there, so unless you're going to consume yourself.
Consume myself. So it's got every animal on this island.
But this animal has every animal, and
I'll
you have
the
to
fish.
kill it.
I'm eating the fish.
All right. So you take a fish first. You'll kill a fish.
Yeah.
And gobble it up. Fine. And then all the fish are dead. There's no more fish in the water for some reason. It's polluted.
No more fish in the sea. Okay.
No more fish in the sea. So all there is these creatures that are crawling on Earth. And I'm not talking insects.
I'm
talking about the kind you can pick up.
Like a chicken.
All right, so you'd hit that chicken first, yeah?
Yeah.
Whack it over there.
Am I doing like a family tree of how far down my killing of animals will go?
Yeah.
At what order?
Yeah. You're doing the food chain here, essentially.
See, I think the thing is, for four-legged animals, that's when it kind of gets harder, right?
Okay, so the birds you'll take, all the birds you'll knock out. You'll kill all the birds. You'll be eating duck. You'll be eating chicken. You'll be eating pigeon. Wood pigeon. You'll be eating spatchcock. Well, that is chicken, isn't it?
Yes. Goblin nut cock up.
Yes. And then all the feathered friends are gone because you've eaten so many of them. So now you must turn your attention to the four-legged freaks. Which one are you going to, unfortunately, take the life of first so that you may eat?
Man. God.
I think we both know which one's going first.
A pig. A boar.
Oh, you go for a boar, would you?
Yeah.
Poor
Probably do more
pigs.
with that meat, can't you?
Yeah, it's more versatile, that's true. You're probably right. All the boars and the pigs are gone. So, what are you going to have next?
And then it's going to go to the sheep.
Ah, so you will eat sheep, will you? I wouldn't eat sheep. I eat the lamb.
That was my favourite meat when I was eating meat.
All right,
Lamb.
clarify something. You don't kill a sheep. You kill a lamb.
I know, you kill
right?
a lamb. That's the thing. When it comes to a baby lamb, that's horrible.
I know.
I'm not killing any of these animals.
I know. We're not doing this. This is all hypothetical. I mean, I'm doing it indirectly every time I eat one. But yes, Jenny and I went to several years ago. We went on a break somewhere up. I can't remember where it was, and she booked us in to go to this like animal sanctuary because we like animals. We love animals. Absolutely love animals. But I eat them. But I love them. Animal welfare and all that sort of stuff. And there's a whole other discussion about veganism and vegetarianism. But I've said what I think. Anyway, we got to this sanctuary, which is very lovely, run by this very lovely woman. But we quickly realised, because it was like a tour of the farmlands there, right? And we immediately realised on this tour that we were literally the only people there who ate meat. Everyone, including the owners, were vegan, and the whole thing was super awkward, man, because the whole thing was we love animals. It was an animal sanctuary. It was a refuge for animals who had been saved from slaughter.
You were the wolves at the door, mate.
Yeah, man. And at first we kept it secret. Obviously, we kept it secret, and then someone, I can't remember who it was, either the person who owned the farm or one of the other people on the tour, said, "Do you eat meat?"
You couldn't lie, could you?
We couldn't lie. And then, like, there was no real judgment, but there was a certain disappointment from them. And it was so awkward because the thing was, we were touring these animals and they were all lovely and cute and stuff like that. And right at the end, the baby lambs there, the spring lambs, they were so cute.
Aww.
So cute. They were the hardest to look in the eye and be like, I enjoy eating you.
Those poor little babies.
Those poor babies. What are you going to do about it?
What can you do?
So I killed one there and then just to make sure that
just to show everyone that you could.
Yeah. So at least they kill it.
That's the only way to do it. Prove it.
They'd been banging on for ages about how vegan they all fucking were, and then as we were leaving the farm, this bitch walked out of there with 12 eggs.
She ain't vegan.
Well, exactly, and this was one of the lead fucking vegans.
Oh, wow. Hypocrite, mate.
Hypocrites. These vegans.
I know.
I wish
vegans.
Nothing but ill on them. I'm kidding.
Well,
more power to you. Well done for believing in something.
Thank you. I don't believe in something. I just do it. It's not I believe in it. I just feel good doing it.
Good.
So I do it.
I feel much better eating the old chicken. I like to have that chicken from time to time.
That's all right. I have no judgment anywhere. Speaking of eating, shall we move somewhat onto film, talking about film, and somewhat towards bringing our guests onto the show? Yeah,
let's do it. Go ahead. Let's
okay.
Go straight to it.
Okay, well, just before we get to anything, let's just talk about our Patreon channel. We got a Patreon channel at www.patreon.com/filmbusters, where we have exclusive content. We have wonderful exclusive episode in there. You can come on the show, you can pick episodes for us to do on the main show and to do on the Patreon channel, and we just have a lovely little family over there. And just so you know, we've recently done a Patreon episode this week, and what is it on, Ben?
Our Patreon this week is our review of Gerard Butler's action release, The Plane. Or not even The Plane, just Plane.
Just plain old
Paul and I
Plane.
were kindly invited to by Lionsgate recently, and we're going to share our thoughts on that over there on Patreon. So pay up your money and go and listen to what we thought.
Yes, I wonder what we thought. You'll never know unless you pay for it, basically.
You'll never know. Never in a million years will you know.
You'll never get this. La 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 la, as they say.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's our Patreon channel. www.patreon.com/filmbusters.
There you go.
Do you know what? Should we get some people on the show?
We may as well bring them in. Who's that knocking on the door?
Who's that knocking on the door? Hello, Mark and Steve.
Ooh. Oh, come on, Steve. I went all camp and everything.
I'm supposed to be the grumpy one.
You're the grumpy one, yeah.
Hello. No, hello, guys. All right. Hi.
It's
how
so
you doing?
lovely to have you here at last.
The boys are in town.
Yeah, is this Film Drone? Because we had movie Busters, didn't we?
Yes.
So this is Film Drone, is it?
Film Drone. Look at that. I'll take it.
Yeah, what did we do? We did Cliffhanger, wasn't it? Was it Cliffhanger?
Yeah,
we did?
Cliffhanger.
Yeah. Amazing.
How could you forget?
I didn't forget. No. Oh, yeah, I mean, it wasn't quite the film I remember it as being with the effects, but I really enjoyed it. It was good fun. Good fun.
It was all right.
It was okay. It was okay. But there's a common theme that I've only just clocked at this moment in time, which is snowy mountains. That's clearly what we cover.
Yeah.
Well, we get onto the snowy mountains.
Yeah.
Or
Everest
as you'd
next.
prefer, Twin Peaks.
Oh yeah, we could do Twin Peaks. Fuck no.
This is the second of the peak. This is the twin.
Oh, I
peak.
see. Oh yeah.
Less Stallone in this one. Thank fuck.
Far less alone. Anyway, boys, how are you? You doing well?
Yeah, I'm good. A banana farmer over there is a little bit grumpy. he's
What's happened, Banana Man?
he's just a little bit tired, bless him. Be gentle with him, he's fragile.
You don't know what goes into getting bananas onto the shelf, Mark.
Well, you don't grow them, you don't pick them, someone sends them to you and then you send them back out.
Yeah, basically.
Just a lot of colour checking.
That's it. Green in, yellow out, hopefully. But no, it's a bit tough at the moment. But, it's nice to have a little bit of a break from it for a few hours. And what better way to spend it than with you guys? Obviously, I'm a bit gutted I've had to bring him along. But yeah, I'm glad to be here.
We've all got our crosses to bear. Unfortunately for us, we haven't got ours with us today because he is on holiday in Morocco. So can I ask you one banana-related question?
Please don't.
I've got a question about bananas as well.
Oh,
Same thing.
banana time.
But this
Banana
one,
hour.
Paul, you know about this one because it was fucking horrendous.
Okay,
So-
it probably is the same thing. Yeah, go on.
well, yeah, there you go. So I think I was about to tuck in to banana
What?
and saw a little white, what do you call it? Almost like a little cotton ball, like a tip of an earbud, cotton on the side of it.
Right.
And I thought, fuck is that? Like a little bit of mold
That's
or
a
something?
spider's
And
nest,
I
isn't it?
hit it. Well, there you go. So I realised it was soft to the touch. I thought, fuck this. I don't like spiders. Got a little knife and just poked at the top of it, poked a hole. And inside were about 30. So this is about half of a centimetre, the size of this thing. Inside were about 30 tiny white little eggs or larvae. What the fuck was that?
It could be any sort of bug, mate. I don't know.
You're
it
so
could be a
lucky.
spider.
I never get cool stuff like that.
There's like loads of stuff in everything. I mean, we have all sorts of things. If you bite into like strawberries and stuff from Spain and that, you can get into stuff. Chestnuts. We used to play. I used to do chestnuts before, and we used to play a thing called maggot roulette. So like basically, you had to cut the chestnuts, and like there's like live grubs in there, and if you got one, you had to eat it. It's all fun.
Wow.
It's all fun in fresh produce.
Oh,
mate,
you're
you know? It's like-
I saw a thing on the news this week. Some woman got a lizard out of a punnet of strawberries.
I've had
and
a
I was
lizard. I've had a
"That is
lizard."
so lucky.
Yeah, no,
I never win anything.
We've had a live lizard. I just don't want the spiders. They're not the big spiders, but
No.
I mean, I'll take the cocaine, obviously. You know what I mean? Like a few packets of that come in, but
Those
we ain't had none of
Colombian
that yet.
bananas.
Yeah, no, we have them. We have them. But no. So yeah, it probably was, mate. It could be any sort of little bug. They're all over it, all over your fresh produce.
Well, if you've got any lizards at work, can I have them next time?
We have to bring pest control. Bloke's a lizard man comes. Yeah, I'll probably sneak you on him and put it in my
Lizard
pocket.
man.
Yeah.
That's Adam.
That is Adam, yeah.
Yeah, I can bring you one, mate. No worries, no worries. Hopefully a poisonous one.
There's only 2 poisonous species
Hopefully
of
one of
lizard.
them. Hopefully one of them.
Mexican bananas?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, okay.
Can we fuck off on the bananas? Jesus Christ.
Facts. All you get is facts from these two. So what about for those that, like, obviously most of our fucking listeners know who MovieDrone are, but for that limited audience who don't, boys, what is the unique angle of MovieDrone?
USP.
Yeah.
What's your elevator pitch?
Unknowledgeable. No, listen, we'd like to think that we are just discussing movies like people do down the pub. You know, I mean, it's we just have a chat about it. We're not professionals. We just say what we see. Mark does some silly quiz things and we answer listener questions and things. But, you know, it's just a general laugh, you know.
It gets us out the house, really. It's quite selfish, isn't it? It's for us, really.
Yeah,
It always is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, along the same lines as yours. Listen, it's just fun. We just try and say what we see. I like scoring loads of Mark's films really low, and obviously your ones as well from last week. Sorry about that.
Yes,
On once, but you know we had a good bit of fun talking about that last week. So that's it, really. Yeah. Nothing spectacular. Do not expect proper critique.
Yeah, we like to average men. We like average. If you can get through an episode.
It is spectacular.
No, I'd say
It is.
I'd say that the initial first 10 minutes is just moaning about how shit our lives are. You know what I mean?
That is the spectacular thing about it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We are there to make everyone else feel better about themselves.
Exactly.
That's it. That's
Mission
our
accomplished.
angle. That is our angle. We're just sad, bland men talking about movies, wishing we were someone else.
Well, we love you over here, and we know that our joint audience loves you as well. And I say it without hyperbole, without crawling up anyone's arse. You are the best of the British podcasting, alongside us, of course.
Obviously.
There is no other British podcaster that I would class up in the upper echelons. Would you, Paul? Is there someone
No.
that we're
No,
going to
no.
offend when this gets released?
I can feel a
it's just
fight
us.
coming
You know,
on.
it's just us two.
I can feel a fight coming on. Definitely, we have to do that.
Someone's getting tagged in a tweet, I'm telling you.
Someone is, yeah.
No, it's like I say, mate. We really love being here. So yeah, thank you very much for that.
And thanks to you guys. You keep me company at work a lot.
Oh,
Like, I just get to sit there and ignore people. I can feel them behind me, but I've got my headphones on. And I'm just
Gives you a reason
engrossed.
not to listen.
Yeah, I just don't turn around and acknowledge them because I'm deep in an episode.
That's where he gets all his ideas from, all his films.
Yeah, I'm not nicking that one.
Just plagiarises everything that you do.
Well,
What
these
can I steal?
you guys actually managed to talk about films with passion. Rather than Steve go, yeah, it was all right. Bit of shit, that. You
Passion doesn't always mean with knowledge.
No, but you get to convince me. You can honestly convince me to watch a film. And I just think, well, if you can find something in it that didn't interest me to start with, I want to know who I'm disagreeing with, basically. Because you're a bit like me and Steve. You very rarely all take, there's a few, but you very rarely all take the same view. Adams just absolutely leave me in stitches.
I'm glad
I don't know
he's doing that
why.
for someone.
Don't know why.
I'm going to miss his plot summary tonight.
Oh yes.
Oh, well, we might.
Well,
need to
someone else
nominate.
might have to do it.
Well, lovely. Look, it's lovely to have the boys here, isn't it?
Absolutely. And like this bring a bit of MovieDrone onto our podcast, I think, because you might have thought you can get away with it, but last time you gave us a little quiz, so it's time to give you guys a little quiz. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm shit at our
We
one.
discussed
You know?
it beforehand and said, are you ready for a quiz if they do one? And both of us agreed no.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I've very rarely watched films with like watching it, you know, like especially not the ones that I know. But listen, I mean, I'm bad at all sorts of quizzes. But yeah, go on, we'll give it a go. I mean, Mark does impressions and stuff. You know what I mean? It can't get much worse.
Well, we're doing a What's That Film
Oh yeah.
this episode, so how do you feel? Let's bring a bit of you onto our podcast.
Do you want the music?
Might as well, let's do it.
Go ahead.
Welcome to the Mark reads some film lines in some similar voices, and Steve has to guess the film from the lines read to get points game. Hashtag what's that film?
And there we go. So that's Steve, isn't it? That is Steve, guaranteed.
Oh dear. We were just talking about how that music's much shitter than Blockbusters, but it does remind us of it. Well, there we go.
Right, so I'll go with my one first, shall I?
Yeah.
Okay, so you ready for your 5-pointer? Here we go, 5 points. What's that film? Ed, this is George Peterson.
Oh, God. I do know that.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, I know the name.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I can't guess it.
No.
We're going for a 4-pointer? Here we go, 4 points. What's that film? Tell you what, dipshit. If you don't like my policies, you can come down on here and smooch my big old white butt.
I know the name. Now I've just got the name in my head.
Yeah. That one give me no help whatsoever. I'm still got the first one going around my head.
You know you're shit at your own game, don't you? Like the worst one at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to pass.
Yeah, passed.
Okay, 3 points. What's that film? Oh, he's very popular, Ed. The Spartos, the Motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, waste eyes, dweebies, dickheads. They all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
That's just confused me more, if I'm honest.
That's a good impression.
It's a great impression. Other people do this game so much better than me.
You know, there's like 10 people, like Glyn and all that, have all got 5.
Of course they have.
You know what I mean? I don't know. No, not for me. I'm so rubbish at
I feel
this.
it's going to get closer to it now. Here we go. 2 points. What's that film? Pardon my French, but Cameron is so tight that if you stuck a lump of coal up his ass, in 2 weeks you'd have a diamond.
I mean, I do know it. I do. But I don't.
I'm just going to shout Uncut Gems just for the sake of it.
Wrong.
I like the logic there.
Yeah.
I like the logic.
I'm trying to pick the clues apart.
No, I don't know.
Here we go. 1 point. What's that film? Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Win bad, aren't we?
We're so bad at our own quiz. Well, your quiz.
Cameron.
Any guess?
No, it's
Come
a
on,
Peterson.
Cameron, George Peterson.
I know the George Peterson name, but
No,
I don't know.
terrible.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, okay.
I've only ever seen it once.
Yeah, it's one of my wife's favourites, not mine. So, yeah.
Ben's wife's favourites.
Is it?
Yeah. It's my favourite film.
Okay. Yeah,
But listening to all those quotes, I knew what the fucking film, I knew what the answer was, and I wouldn't have got it until the second to last one, I think.
Okay.
So what are you saying, Ben? It was too hard. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
I tell you what, if you didn't get that one, you've got no chance with this one. But it's a chance to redeem yourself. Okay. Let's take it over here for 5 points. What's that film? You know, I've had more rewarding friendships than this one, although I do get to keep telling the same jokes.
No, not for me.
No.
No. 4 points. What's that film? So you lie to yourself to be happy. There's nothing wrong with it. We all do it.
Honestly, this doesn't sound like something that I'm going to have known. God, it's so bad.
I recognise it.
Well, then.
No, I can't. No. I'm going to go for 3.
I'll give it to you. Go on.
3 points. What's that film? We all need mirrors to remind ourselves who we are. I'm no different.
That sounds like something you'd know, Mark.
Think.
Yeah.
Are we going to know this one, Ben?
I would imagine you would, yeah.
Jokes.
And if you haven't seen it, you have to correct that immediately.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure you will have both seen it.
I don't know.
No. Go for 2s.
2 points. Okay, this one I think could be the one. You sad, sad freak. I can say whatever the fuck I want and you won't remember. We'll still be best friends. Or maybe even lovers.
That's something that's been said to you, isn't it?
Yeah, many times, many times.
That's where I'm confusing it. I think I've heard someone say it to you. I mean, I don't think I've seen it, my friend.
I'm just going to chuck out Memento just for...
You got it.
Yeah. I was going to go Memento on the third one.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Well
I haven't watched it for years.
Has he not?
No. Well, you have both seen it then. The one pointer was going to be, and I don't know if this would have helped you because I ran it with Paul earlier and he said this one would have been even harder. But the one pointer was going to be, remember Sammy Jankis? Would that have helped at all?
It would. I should have got it earlier, but I just got one, didn't I? That'll do. That'll do.
Very
bragging
well
rights got.
I got 3 on ours tonight.
You did?
I did.
You did.
So, yeah, there we go. So, 3-2.
Good work.
There we go. Yeah. I'll take that.
And can you tell us why we might have picked those two films tonight?
Guy Pearce.
And
what was the other film?
Ferris Bueller.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Dear. Just thinking about bananas.
What one was Ferris Bueller? It's Broderick, isn't it? But is it Broderick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else is in that then? Let's say Robert Carlyle's in it.
It's the head teacher, Jeffrey Jones.
Okay.
Robert Carlyle in Ferris
I
Bueller's
don't know, mate. Didn't you make me watch it once? Is that the one?
Listen to MovieDrone.
That's
where
the one we
critique
went
films.
round your house to watch it, didn't we?
What?
And you made me sit there and watch it, and I was like, "Can I go home now?"
Watch what?
Was it Ferris Bueller?
No.
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 What was that one then?
Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh yeah, that was shit.
Weekend at Bernie's is good fun. Come on, behave yourself.
Well,
Dear.
you did well.
You did very
You did
well.
well. You did
Well
well.
done, boys.
Thank you.
You two did great.
Good sports.
You've proper got it.
Yeah.
Might franchise that quiz out. I'm telling you.
You need
We'll
to get
pay
some
you.
rights.
Yeah, you should.
Anyway, hopefully that broke the ice.
Yes. Should we move on to talking about the film that we're speaking about today?
Let's.
You know, Ben Franklin once said, "Eat to live. Don't live to eat." Huh? Well, it's an easy decision, Boyd. You can either famine or feast. Live or die.
Right, everyone, today we're talking about Ravenous from 1999 by Antonia Bird. This is a spoiler episode, so if you haven't seen it, you might want to go watch it first, because we're going to spoil it terribly, because it's a spoiler episode. But you could just listen, and we'll probably, explain it to you, and we'll just spoil it for you. Yeah. Let me tell you about some people who have been in films we've done before on the podcast. Do you know any, Ben? Or maybe MovieDrone boys? Any you think we've done before?
David Arquette.
Yes.
Yes.
He must have been in your Scream episode.
Yes, Scream 2022, that's it. That's one of them.
What the fuck's Robert Carlyle been in that we've done? Oh, Full Monty.
Full Monty.
Yes.
There we go. Knocked him out. We got 4 other people.
Have we?
Blimey.
Let me just tell you, because you're not going to get them. We got Jeremy Davies, who's the religious guy, who's making up his little religious song. He was in House That Jack Built. We got John Spencer, who is General Slauson. He was in Copland.
Oh, yeah. His last film.
Oh, was it?
Mm-hmm. He
Oh,
died
okay.
after this.
We got Stephen Spinella, who was the drunk Major Knox. He was in Can You Ever Forgive Me? And lastly, we got Neil McDonough, who was in Sonic the Hedgehog.
Christ. Oh,
He plays
stellar,
Reich.
stellar actors there.
Some big hitters.
Big hitters, pretty much the whole cast. Almost.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Apart from Jeffrey Jones.
We come.
But yes.
Talk about Jeffrey in a bit.
Have you got anything about this film, Ben?
I have got a little bit here. So, Ravenous was released in 1999 and can loosely be described as a horror western cannibal film. It went through a long and checkered production process before making it to the big screen. So, 2 directors were dismissed before British director Antonia Bird took over. The original director, Milcho Manchevsky, walked off the set 3 weeks into production due to constant arguments with the producers. His replacement was instantly rallied against by the cast because all the cast were in place, they were on set. They instantly threw the second director out pretty much immediately. And then Robert Carlyle called up his mate Antonia Bird, who he'd worked with before on a couple of other films, and asked her to come in and save the film. So the script was written by Ted Griffin, who combined elements from the true story of the Donner Party expedition and that of the real-life Colorado cannibal Alfred Packer, who survived by eating 5 companions after becoming snowbound in the 1870s. Michael Nyman and Damon Albarn composed the film's score, which generated a significant amount of interest because of its quirky and inventive use of loops, instruments, and musical structure. And even though Bird completed the film, she was apparently not happy with the studio interference, the small sets, and the chaotic shooting conditions. She was also reportedly not happy with the final cut and was interested in recutting it for the European market, which I believe is the cut that we ended up watching, because I have never seen this alternative cut that I've heard about.
Oh, wow.
And that's about it.
Yeah,
Lovely
I think
stuff.
I had the uncut one. I think you bought it for me. Was it you bought it for me?
Yeah.
Yeah. As a present.
When I liked you.
Yeah, I had the uncut one.
So, is there a narration in the version you watched?
No, I don't think so.
You
no.
probably watched the one off of my Prime, didn't you? Because
No.
we had to buy it
I
on.
watched it on DVD.
Did you?
Yeah, the Louis that you bought me.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh,
Or someone bought me.
Yeah,
Anyway,
no, I
I
bought
might
it.
bought. I don't know. Fucking. I don't know.
Well,
how I
this will
got
be
it.
interesting. When we talk about the film, let's see if there's some things that maybe
You ain't going to remember shit.
I was about to say.
Yeah, it's probably not going to remember the differences on there. But anyway, yeah, no, I watched it on. It's the first time I've opened it. Yeah, well, good.
interesting.
Nice.
Paul, what do you think? In the absence of Adam, should we just get the boys to tell us why they picked Ravenous?
Yes. Why did you pick Ravenous?
You picked Ravenous because we sent you 3 over and you chose it.
No, we have a section called our section called homework.
Yeah.
And it's safe to say that we don't have a massive amount of really outstanding ones, do we? That we find.
No.
You probably have a few more.
Mm-hmm.
You give me a lot of poop. But we've had some, haven't we? We've had
Yeah.
American Honey, loved American Honey, and Ravenous was one of the first ones, wasn't it?
This was
One of the
early doors.
ones.
I think it was like episode 8.
Yeah, and it was like Mark hadn't seen it. I gave it to him for homework, and the rest is history. You know.
Well, Mark tried watching it about 4 times because Steve, we used to do dog walks regularly, and Steve was always on about this film Ravenous. And he was, when we started the pod, he was like, I'm going to give it to you, but I thought I'll try and get ahead. And I kept watching the first 2-3 minutes thinking this isn't going to be for me. And then he actually gave it for me for homework, and I had to sit down and watch it.
It's the rules.
And the rest was history.
Yeah. So that's why it's sort of reminiscent of our early days. When
Do you know what? That's interesting because I feel like when I first discovered you guys, I started listening to your back catalogue. So I must have listened to that episode, but I cannot remember at all what you would have thought of Ravenous. So I'm glad that I didn't realise that you already said some stuff, because I would have been tempted to go back and have a listen before this.
Yeah.
I can't remember what we said. I looked up my score just to see if it had massively changed, but because it was on the spreadsheet, wasn't it?
Was it?
But I didn't go back to the episode. I wouldn't want to listen to that again.
No, don't listen to it.
Early days.
Those early episodes of anyone's podcast are never fun to listen back
Never
to.
go back.
I'm going to listen to yours now just to be spiteful.
It's horrendous.
Could either of you give a little plot overview of what this film's about?
In Adam's style,
Yeah, in Adam's
Yes.
style.
right, so this fella, right, he survives loads of people being murdered, and everyone thinks he's kind of a hero, but someone knows he's not a hero, so they send him out somewhere just to sort of be babysat, really, and then some other fella turns up saying that he's had to eat people, and he almost gets lured, and all the people have to go over to this cave, and then they sort of get lured and eaten, and then it turns out that they was all in it together, and when they get back and they want him to be part of the gang.
That was almost too good.
It was almost too good.
Was that Adam's style?
Yeah, it was close enough, but Adam would never be that comprehensible.
Beautiful stuff. Well, this is both of your pick, so I'm going to give you the honours of deciding whose first impressions you want in what order.
Ooh.
I don't mind. I mean,
I want to hear the boys think first.
do you?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, well,
Who do you want
we
first?
know what each other thinks about it,
That's true.
so we don't know what you think, so we don't want to pollute your brains with our proper opinions.
All right.
Oh, look at that.
So let's go. Paul's at the top, then
Go
Ben,
ahead.
then Steve, and then I'll chip in at the end, shall we?
Okay, let's do that. All right. So I was actually inspired to watch this film back in 2021 for the first time by you guys. I saw that episode, so I wanted to watch the film. And I thought it was great back then. and I still do think it's great. But one thing watching this time that I did not remember was how playful the damn film was. It's like, especially when it's opening quotes and music is saying "eat me." Like, I didn't remember all that bit. I was like, wait a minute, what? It's almost like bordering on like Naked Gun or Hot Shots at that point. Like, just slapstick. And like the first third especially walks a very comedic line, and with like the random group of eccentric individuals, all with their funny quirks, and Jeffrey Jones especially playing like such a damn fool. And it's all like very tongue in cheek. It like knows is already some elaborate commentary about American greed, and it just runs with it. Like, Carlisle is just chewing the scenery, and as much as he is chewing his fellow actors. And he's so
you planned that line in advance. That was not on the cuff, was it?
And he's so damn good, and everyone's great. To be fair, I don't think there's any real loose ends, and I'm pretty sure that is the consensus for all of us. I'm pretty sure it's the consensus for all of us. But if I had to be negative about anything, just to be a contrarian, I would say it never really commits fully to a tone. I think the slapstick comedy we're given in the first half completely watered down and almost forgotten about by the second half. And I think that's why it almost felt it was coming out of nowhere when I was watching it like the second time, this time, especially with that "eat me" quote, because it's just so silly and nothing ever comes close to like how I feel leaving the story. But it doesn't in any way stop the film from being a brilliant ride, and I ate it up. Yes, I ate it up.
You ate it up.
I ate it up.
Is that a little glimpse into
unintended?
The old, yes, very good, very good. Just to let you know that "eat me" quote at the beginning. That was one of the things that the director, when she saw the theatrical cut, was like, that shouldn't be there. She wasn't happy with that. So she didn't like it.
I would say it's out of place.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
All right, I'll jump on the back of what you were just saying there. The fact that it doesn't define itself as a sort of like, okay, let's just settle in and be a horror, let's settle in and be a comedy. The fact that it can't easily be defined is kind of what keeps me coming back to it. I've been watching this film like off and on for about 15 years or so, and everything is like that. It's not just the genres all over the place. The acting is erratic. The acting is wild. You never quite get into the groove to know, okay, we're playing it straight now. Now we're playing it silly. It keeps on changing up. That soundtrack by Damon Albarn, I could imagine people hating that. And I even suspect one of the boys here might not be a fan of the soundtrack. But for me, that also really works with it because it's so disjointed. It's like the Gorillaz before they were the Gorillaz committing their first album to a cannibal film off the back as a favor. And it really, really works. I love the idea of religion being played with here. I love some of the homosexual tendencies being played with here, all being wrapped up in this cannibal story. And like you said, the sort of veiled criticism of America that is in there. But most of all, it is so fucking enjoyable. They make a film about a bleak outpost in the middle of America, consumed by this cannibal coming down, enjoyable and fun and playful all the way, without making it feel like, well, this is just stupid. It keeps you invested in believing in the characters that goes along. And thanks to Luke Human for keeping it a running GIF throughout our Twitter conversations over the last few years. And I ate it up and then some, Paul.
The thing is, I am really glad that throughout this podcast, when we started it, that we've actually found people that like this sort of thing. I mean, it's the sort of film that without this sort of medium and without this sort of discussions, it's the sort of film that you'd watch and maybe tell one person about, and they would watch it and they go, oh yeah, it's all right. But I think it's much better than the rating. I mean, Rotten Tomatoes is like 51%, and I would have imagined it would have been a bit higher than that. IMDb's probably sitting at around about 7, something like that. It's in my top 5. I've got to be honest. It's in my top 5, and I would safely say that probably the score for me is probably my number 1 score of any film ever.
Excellent.
Yeah, I actually, I can sit and watch it. I was actually discussing the other day, I never realised you can buy it on vinyl. Right. So I finished watching it the other day and I went, you know what, I've got to buy that on vinyl. I haven't yet. It's my birthday coming up, so hopefully my wife will hear this, and maybe I'll get that as vinyl. But you can actually buy it, you know, and it's really weird. I'm not quite sure how it would actually sound by sitting listening to it over and over again. Probably like last week's Once. Right, so probably get on your tits a bit. But it's my favourite performances by Guy Pearce and Robert Carlyle. As I said, in my top 5, couldn't probably place it. I see it more of a Western, much the same as I see Bone Tomahawk as a Western, more than a horror. And I love the fusion of Westerns and horrors, not like cowboys and aliens and stuff, those sorts of fusions. But the fact that back then, putting this element into it, it's not something. Well, it happened in real life. There's obviously news stories about it happening, and you can see it happening, you know. And I love that element of that time zone where anything could happen, and you know, it just fits for me. I can just imagine it perfectly, and the score and as you said, bleak was one of the words. Yeah, I have a thing about mountains, don't I? I've always wanted to climb one. Or I watched Everest again the other day, and it's put me off a little bit. But yeah, you know, as I'm going to say, it's in my top 5. What can I say?
Do you eat it up?
Wow.
I'm not going to use any puns.
You know, I found this grounding this film because, like we discussed, I tried it, and when you gave it to me for homework, I didn't think I was going to like this. Didn't think, and for the first time in my life, I was wrong. It's a hard feeling to take. I've always been right,
Especially with me.
Yeah, with you as well. You actually going, and brilliant. I think you said you ain't gonna like the music on this one, and I love it.
Right.
I think it gives the whole film. It alters the tone of the film just with the score, and I think certain characters almost get their own little soundtrack through it, and it sort of repeats through. And I agree with Steve. Actually, I'd love to hear this through a proper sound system. It's one of those you can go.
Do you ever do that with people? You know, when you see people like walk through an office or something, do you ever put a theme tune to their walk?
Yeah.
Have you ever done that? And like, this is what this reminds me of.
Funny when you walked in tonight, mate.
Diddle-doo, diddle-doo, diddle-doo. I think it was more like something really morose.
But yeah, I think watching it this time, I was trying to watch it with a more critical edge than enjoyment, because since we did the pod on it, I've just watched it for enjoyment, and actually we're supposed to be talking about it as a film. And if I want to criticise it a little bit, I thought some of the characters could have done with a bit more development, and I didn't realise how ropey some of it was set-wise. We'll get on to that, but actually watching it, I was thinking, I don't know how big the budget was. I assume it was quite a low budget, but some of it did look a bit ropey. But I love it. I love watching it. I love hearing it. The performances of Carlisle amazingly this time round. I don't think I'd appreciated how good he was.
Yeah.
And I had a bloody good time watching it.
Good. A pun to end everything.
Don't want to let the team down.
Fantastic.
Well, that sounds like it's going to be a bit of a praise fest. But in the interest of not allowing it to start off in that way, go on then, Mark. Which of the characters did you not think were very well put together?
I mean, we're just led to expect David Arquette's character is just a bit crazy. I think he deserved a bit more time. I think he was a good enough character to get some more time. We did spend a lot of time with Robert Carlyle. His character didn't need development because we needed that surprise. I think we got it from Guy Pearce because obviously his character grew throughout. But the more fringe characters, I just felt needed a bit more time if I was being picky.
Yeah.
I was surprised actually, looking at the poster again, that David Arquette's actually on the poster. He's one of the 3 heads. It's like, really?
Is he really? Is it?
Yeah.
That's riding the scream wagon then, isn't it? Because he was the up and comer at that time.
Yeah, that would be it. Yeah, to draw the people in.
Yeah, 2 screams down. What about you, Steve? Anyone on the cast or one of the characters that you think wasn't great? We grated on you a bit?
You know what? I don't think so. I can't watch this, I don't think, as Mark says, sort of more critical. I love it so much that I just get really involved. And I think, as we mentioned before, many a times, even so far, the score it just makes it an experience for me. And I can't I can't be critical about it. The main two performances, I think, as I said, they are my favourite ones from these actors, and I think everyone is just about right to leave these two to be at the forefront. I don't particularly want any of them. I like the, if I'm going to be probably critical, like you get the action soldier. I can't remember who plays him.
Oh yeah,
It's the Neil McDonough guy.
Yeah,
Neil McDonough, yeah.
Yeah, I watched Black Hawk Down this week, and there's a character, I can't remember his name, who plays a sergeant. He also plays it in Saving Private Ryan, I think. And he's the sort of one that wanders around and there's shots firing, and he never ducks or anything. He just wanders around and does his own thing. Those are the sorts of bits that I'm a little bit suspect on. I suppose I got a little bit of that from that character. But, I don't know. I just can't fault any of it, I don't think. I have it really, really high. I just get such an enjoyment out of it. I can put it on any time, and I don't see the bad in any of it, unfortunately, for a critic point of view.
Hey, I'm all for that. Like, don't for a second get it twisted and think we're here going, you put your fucking critical glasses on, Steve.
We have Adam as one of our hosts.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I've got to agree though. I don't think there's any real weak parts. Like, I think all the characters have their characterization and they stick to it. Like Major Knox, I just love his drunk character, and he's just stumbling, like not remembering anything, and he's just stumbling around. Where's my sword? It's like I love him. He's nicely played. I can kind of get the David Arquette character, but then I don't really know what else. He was just a druggie. He was just like a stoner
He was fodder.
Yeah, he was fodder. He's like a stoner from a high school movie. He's just sitting there giggling.
I mean, he gave me his demise is one of my favourite score parts. The part where we're running, and you can hear him screaming in the background to the sound of this like almost circus-like funfair score. Is one of my standout scenes. Certainly, score parts from here. And like. I don't know. I can't, because of that scene. I can't see any bad in his character. He's gone from that build up to that where he's terrified of Robert Carlyle. There's the scene where Robert Carlyle's doing the breathing, the funny breathing, where he's sort of like tapping his mouth when he's running up to him. That scene and the actual demise of off screen of David Arquette is one of my standout scenes of the film. So the lead up to that point, it gives you enough to know that he is just, and I don't know, like a child, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's almost like a child being murdered in a film, and like it just gives you that impact. I think it's one of my favourite scenes.
Can I check something, Steve? Do you mean Jeremy Davis?
Do I?
Are you talking about the guy the religious one? The one who, when Robert Carlyle was tapping his throat and doing all that funny breathing, and then he says "run" and chases him through the woods.
Yes,
is that who you mean?
Maybe, yeah.
So that guy, Jeremy Davis, is the one that I think is the best actor,
right,
in this film. He's unsung hero because that fucking guy does so much with so little on the page.
Yeah,
you think about the way that character is written. There is nothing really on the page for him. His performance.
Well, he says a lot without saying anything, doesn't he?
He does. Just think about the scene where he has to go and wake up Major Knox because Robert Carlyle's woken up. And he just goes in there and he's going, Knox. And he's like just tapping him. We can't wake. He's woken up. And then Knox snaps too. He does all that without anything on the page. And also, just to come to that bit, Steve, because you love the score so much, when Robert Carlyle's tapping his throat and doing all that funny breathing, apparently that was improvised because he didn't know, like the direction was just get up there to the cave and respond to the situation. So Damon Albarn's score there is meant to be replicating his breathing. So Robert Carlyle improvised all that, and then Damon Albarn started trying to replicate his breathing on the score to create that. I can't even think what it sounds like. But I'm very glad that you like the score so much because it's been in my head for days since watching it.
Yeah, it was Jeremy Davis, wasn't it? It was Toffler. Yeah, Toffler. Yeah.
Charles Manson. He should have played Charles Manson in something.
I think not. I think we've got a perfectly good actor for that. Thank you very much. I'm just,
I was thinking for a sec. Did he play Charles Manson? But no, it was a guy who looks like him.
Yeah,
it's not actually him, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, actually, Quentin Tarantino cast him in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
Yeah.
and then he replaced him with the other guy.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the thing, and I'm not a critic of this film. I love it as well. Emotionally, I just enjoy it, can throw it on. But if I had to say one thing that I thought was a weakness, I still do kind of think it. The main thing I think is a weakness is actually Guy Pearce, and I think it's because he's such a straight man throughout this film. I don't know how you feel about it, but I feel you could pass it off as, well, he has to be because of all this crazy shit that's going on around him, and because of how wild Robert Carlyle is as a sort of enemy, as a foe. But for me, I think Pearce plays it a little too straight and a little bit too reserved. Like, he's not very engaging when it's just him on the screen, I don't think.
I think it's just that cowardice aspect, isn't it? He is like a rabbit in the headlights. Like, I think when he was shipped off to this post, he thought this was just going to be an easy little ride. And actually, I'll just keep my head down over here. I know I'm third, fourth in command. I'll just do what I need to do. And actually, to be thrust into this.
Yeah.
For me, he plays it really well. And the way that it actually builds his character, that he can, when we have the bit where he's down the bottom of the tree, Carlisle sort of wanders off. And is he dead? Is he not dead? Is he going to come about? And he goes for a little feast and gets himself up to health.
Yeah.
I think you see the character build and you see him actually get a little bit of gumption about him. And I think it's all saved for that final act.
Yeah. He has to become the hero. Yeah, that's his journey.
Yeah, I think it's more relief, isn't it? I think it's more relief that he's actually managed to do something good, because he just didn't. He comes across as somebody who literally is ashamed of something that they've done and has gone into their shell. And I don't think you can play that sort of character with much more emotion than he did. He's just totally withdrawn, isn't he? And obviously we don't get to the final scene, but the look of relief on his face when he realises that he's done something good at the end is
it's almost like
stunning.
PTSD he's suffering from, isn't he? I suppose you look through the actual film itself until he realises that actually I need to stand up and be counted here, and I can't just play dead this time.
I was just going to say he wouldn't consume the meat at the beginning, and then his journey is him consuming human meat. That's his journey.
I've got a problem about human meat as well. Why do films like this always make it look watery and grey? Why is no one putting any effort in? Right, if you've got to eat it, bit of marinade, rosemary, bit of garlic, so you can make something better than a broth.
You're putting the rosemary on it.
Well, you got to rest it. Obviously, you got to like marinate it up. Then you got to, depends how you want it cooked. But a bit of rosemary, maybe some garlic cloves, something like a bit of effort, just grey gruel.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm so tired of that at the moment. I'll probably give it a go. If I'm honest, I feel like I'm at the point.
Give me some salt.
I feel like I'm at the point where I need to do it.
I think there's a market for a film that actually makes human meat look nice.
Did you
cannibals that actually eat nice human? Because I've just read the Alive book.
Yes,
and they're just sort of carving it off. They're eating it raw. We got this one where they're just like hacking it up and then the broth. But actually, why not do a film where, almost like Sweeney Todd, I suppose, they're actually doing it in pies and no one really realises. You could do a film with a Michelin star restaurant that the secret ingredient is human meat.
Have you seen the prank clip, like the cooking game show thing, where they say they get two people to eat a dish, and then they have like the chef there, and they say, "Chef, what secret ingredient have the people just eaten?" And he goes, "It's one of them's he says shark." Another one, and he says something else, and then the next one, or fish liver, shark, and then he says, or human flesh, and like they say to him, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "Well, it's human flesh." And they're sort of in the background. You get people going, "Yeah, we've cleared it with legal and all that." And the two people that have eaten this meal, this food, are sitting there like they look petrified. And then they say to him, "What was it?" And he goes, "Yeah, it was human flesh." And like honestly, one of them walks off. One of them pretty much pukes up. They do it as a prank, but yeah, it's like I know it's a taboo, isn't it? I mean, with the price of food and that going up, who knows?
We may have no alternative. So if you were in that situation, if you were in Robert Carlyle's situation when he's telling his story, could you do it to survive?
Yeah.
I think I would.
Mark seems to think that he's this
I don't
proper
think
survivalist, don't you, mate?
I don't think I've got a huge problem eating a person.
But you have got to kill them. It's not that they die and then you eat them. You've got to kill them to eat.
I mean, the chances are I'm going to get killed. Let's be honest with you. I'm probably going to be one of the first ones off. But if by accident one trips, hits their heads on a stone, and I'm hungry,
You're the first one there.
I'm cooking it though, and I'm not cooking it in water and boiling it.
If it's Mark and Napoleon Dynamite in a cave, and you're getting Napoleon Dynamite coming out the other end, mate, I'm saying you that for nothing. No problem.
Which part do you go for first, though?
Oh, we had this discussion because we watched what was the one Bones and all, didn't it?
Yeah.
And they started at the nipple, and I was like, I don't think I'd start at the nipple.
No, that's like going for
Very
pork
tough.
belly, isn't it?
I think I'm going
You reckon it's
thigh.
tough?
I think I'm going thigh, like a leg of lamb.
Yeah, thigh. There's a lot of movement there. The meat's super tender.
Yeah.
You'll have both brown and red meat in that sort of
obviously,
area. So you get two textures.
If it's survival, I'm going to go for some offal as well because you need to get that goodness.
Remind me what offal is.
That's your livers, your hearts. You need to get the goodness in. You don't want to just concentrate on the flesh. The offal's going to go off quite quickly. I have thought about this, so you need to get that going.
It's got a recipe book coming out.
Yeah, you have. I mean, obviously, you could do some smoking so you can preserve it. Maybe some human biltong.
Nice.
There we go.
Yeah,
Nice.
preserve,
You know, you got to think
excellent.
ration.
Hey, if I'm getting lost, I need to be with this guy.
You've got to think the long haul.
You're
Respect.
getting eaten. Sorry, Ben.
Yeah, respect that person that's
probably.
died, and we'll eat them all.
You can burn his guitar, so cook it because he'll certainly bore you to death with that. Okay, no.
So coming back to this theme of cannibalism throughout, what do you think of the few religious sort of like allegories that are in there? Obviously, when we first see Carlyle, he is very much looking like Jesus, being bathed. He's got the crucifix in his hand. Towards the end, he's got the crucifix in blood on his head. I think there's even a reference. Someone says something like, "Man takes the blood of man every Sunday." What do you think? What do you think they're saying about religion and cannibalism?
I don't know. I don't know if there's enough. There obviously there's some sort of commentary in there, and whether or not they're alluring that he is the cult leader from that point. Obviously, he's got that Jesus-esque type to him. He has almost got that Marilyn Manson thing, and we have got the thing of he is trying to build a cult.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether it is just alluring to him being a messiah.
A new messiah.
Yeah.
The way I see it is it's almost like a replacement for religion. Like I am God. Like, what can you do that is more superhuman or top of the food chain? I am above everyone. Then kill and consume someone else. You essentially become a god. They say that about serial killers, don't they? It's the god complex. Once they start doing it, they've taken life. So to take a life and then consume that person, you essentially think you're God at that point, right? So like, this is the new way.
And you get to play God as well. It's not even that you think you are playing God with people's lives.
Yeah. And you pass in the meat round for your disciples to swallow. And it comes right back down to fucking America. Like the new frontier rolling out across America, taking everything, trying to consume everything.
Yeah.
Religion was the way that they did it.
It's true.
Isn't it?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
I mean, I don't
true,
talk about religion. I'll get in trouble when I talk
You
about
do
religion.
get in
I try
trouble.
not to even think about it, you know.
I think you're probably in very safe hands on this
Yes.
podcast when you if you want to say anything about religion. I'll tell
Good.
you.
Don't listen to that Paul and Tom podcast. Jesus. If you want to get onto religion, mate.
No Jesus.
Well, I mean, underneath it, I mean, this isn't there's a lot of, it's quite a dark storyline. It's not underneath the sort of fun score. There is a lot of that, isn't there? It is a very, very dark film. It's not a zombie film. It's not like the virus or whatever. This, as we said, this is something that probably happened and has been documented as happening. And when you actually think about it and strip it down, it's pretty heavy. You know, it's a pretty heavy decision.
Yeah.
You wouldn't just you wouldn't just tuck in, would you? You'd have a lot of moral thoughts about it. I mean, you know,
I mean, it's one of the. I mean, they've almost got the folklore element to it as well, haven't they? with the guys back in the cabin. Is it Windingo or something?
Wendigo.
Yeah, Wendigo. And they talk about bits like that. But yeah, moral dilemma, probably. I mean, you're hungry is survival of the fittest, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, there's difference between getting caught in a cave and having to eat someone than actually hunting people and becoming needy on that meat. Yeah, it's like the guys from Alive on the plane crash didn't come back and that was their diet, did they? They did it for a necessity. This is actually about setting up a community of people who are going to eat humans.
Yeah, there certainly is a bit of folklore, a bit of fantasy about it, isn't it? A bit of Native American folklore. Yeah,
I don't think he had many morals, if I'm honest. I don't think this was a moral dilemma for him.
No, I mean, setting up his new world.
Yeah, the part that I thought was interesting, and I don't like this. Sometimes it makes me quite unnerved in films. Was when nobody believes you. You know, when he comes back as
you
like
hate that, don't you?
Fuck me. It's one of my worst things.
When you're telling the policeman that this is happening, you hate it. Honestly, Steve gets palpitations in these films when someone's. Do you know, like when the police turn up and they go, "Yeah, there's a killer inside," and they're going, "Yeah, well, we've got to go down the road now," and he's going, "No, there's a killer," and they're not believing it. Steve gets palpitations over that.
I do.
Is that because you're annoyed about it as a movie cliche, or because you're worried about that happening in real life?
Do you know what I do? I do worry about it. I mean,
you do, didn't you? You don't want to go to America because of it.
We all don't want to go to America.
I mean, I like America. I do like America, but like I watched the film. I think it was something silly. It was the film with Halle Berry where she gets into the asylum. No one believes she's
Gothica. Yeah,
that honestly, that did what? Because I just think to myself, look, well, you know, when you put yourself in that situation, the power of film, you put yourself in that situation. What if no one believed me? And like, you know, and putting yourself in Guy Pearce's situation there, and Robert Carlyle plays that so well. Yeah. And when he's like looking for the scar or whatever on his thing,
that moment when he turns up and he's like, "This is General so and so," and he turns around and it's just his face and that realization of. What the fuck?
Yeah,
that is a good moment.
Yeah, and bearing in mind that obviously Guy Pearce at that point is a coward. He's still a coward. He doesn't have that sort of strong character. He just in the end accepts the fact that no one's going to believe him.
Perhaps I am wrong.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's not got the fight, has he? No. Really, you know.
He has run away several times by this point, because even when they're chasing after, when that blonde soldier is chasing after Robert Carlyle, Guy Pearce just wants to go. He's like, let's go back. He wants to flee even then. Yeah. But the one thing you could say is strong about him is when he's trapped, when they fall off the cliff and he's trapped with that body, he really holds out to the last minute to take a bite of the soldier, doesn't he? He holds out for a long old time before he does it.
Do you think it's because, I mean, he obviously had the point where he was under all the dead bodies and all the blood was going in his mouth, so he had... Do you think he was just fighting an urge rather than fighting a moral thing? Because he was almost looking at Robert Carlyle as scum of the earth because he had eaten them and he didn't want to be that person.
So this comes into another one of my readings on the film. Well, I know we don't want to be too critical. We just want to enjoy the film, but here's another reading, which I think is definitely there. It's the homosexual undercurrent throughout. So the way that I also interpret what goes on in here is its homosexuality, the way that it's presented. And Guy Pearce thinks it's a sin, but he is gay. So when he gets that first trickle of blood in his mouth, he has a taste of something. He has a taste of something that he knows is not right. He's been conditioned to believe is not right. So he's fighting it. And then he comes and meets Robert Carlyle, who is an out and proud gay man. And he cannot come to terms with it. And it's this internal battle with him, which at the end ends with them both being dead, but both in the embrace and the arms of each other. I'm not saying the whole film is about homosexuality. Yeah. I do think that it is one theme that runs throughout. And I think the line when Robert Carlyle says to him, "It's not courage to resist me, it's courage to accept me," I think that particularly resonates with a homosexual reading.
So the behavioural sin.
Behavioural sin, there you go.
Yeah, interesting. I'd never actually thought of it like that.
It is interesting.
I'm not sure many other people would.
No, I always find stuff that no one else does because I'm probably wrong.
No, it makes perfect... I'm the king of finding stuff in films and then Steve going, I didn't get that. Didn't get that one, sorry.
Well, no, I mean...
But it's interesting, it really is.
If you're going to have an outpost in the middle of nowhere with loads of men in just one woman, I imagine there's going to be that sort of connotation.
I mean,
in some
I'm
way.
eating humans. Don't knock it till you tried it. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. You could try as being bi, right?
Yeah. You know, it's a sin. Might as well.
There you go. Yeah.
What
Well,
happens on tour stays on tour.
I really liked when, since you mentioned it, when he turns up as Ives as the sort of captain who's going to be overseeing the outpost at that point. How immaculate he is by that point. His beard is groomed. It's almost like oiled, and he's almost got a tan on. His hair's all slicked back. He looks so healthy. And when he's talking to what's his name, Boyd, out in the cold, Guy Pearce looks like shit. He's so pale. He's frostbit. He's weak. And they couldn't be more polar opposites. I just love that whole scene.
Well, I suppose he's regenerated, isn't he?
Well, when he comes back, that look, I think there's one point where he's actually sort of like just looking at the camera, and Guy Pearce just looks like he's pretty much just about to die. And I think that look is one of the best. If you were to take a snapshot of that, and like you could have it as, it's just one of the most perfect expressions. It totally matched exactly what you're saying. Like that, he was completely on the point of death, and I just thought that look. I know it's silly, but you know, it's sort of like the face that you pull when you have a photo taken, Mark. You know, like that stupid, gauntlet, like near death thing. But I thought that was brilliant. I thought it was great. And the other sort of like standout, I'd say snapshot facial expression was the dead soldier when he was laying in the hole with his eyes open.
And the grimace.
Always smiling.
Yeah, that for me was another really sort of like excellent sort of scene.
And I mean, you got to mention the gift that LJ does share, that little cocky Robert Carlyle smile.
So good.
Do you think we'll get that?
Yeah, of course we will. That'll definitely be on the end of this.
We've got to get it, haven't we?
I mean, talking about all these scenes, I think you realise the pace this film actually moves at, though. Because I think they've almost got two films in this. Because you look at the films now, they can get 2.5 hours out of shit.
Yeah.
Within half an hour, we've had the beginning scene, we've got to the outpost, we've already revealed that he's a cannibal.
Yeah.
And we've still got another half of the film left yet, and he's got to get back, and the pacing of it, I don't think it ever dips.
No, I don't think it does. I was just going to say, do you remember the first time you watched this film? If you were taken, were you blindsided by the reveal that he was a cannibal when they get to the cave, or had you already clocked it?
I dealt with myself. I think I was probably in too much anger at that point. I was enjoying it, and I was going to have to admit it to Steve. But I think there was two moments. There's a point where he does reveal it was actually him. I think I'd realised it before they had gone down into the hole, because I think they allude enough with the score that something sinister is happening.
Yes, and he's also licked his leg by then as well.
Yeah, they had worked.
Oh, his side, not his leg.
He had licked me, and then we had
He's licking me.
I mean, that was a really good scene.
It was fantastic. It was brilliant. But yeah, you've got the reveal when he's obviously back, and we realise that he is one of the top-ranking people. You got those 2 points. I actually remember thinking, "Fuck."
Yeah,
I think it was more surprising for me when the other people came back. And that they were cannibals as well.
Yeah.
I did like the Jeffrey Jones in the scene where he asked him to kill him. I thought that was, I'm going to say, quite powerful, where he said, "Look, kill me. I don't want to be like this." Which
I thought was weird, because I never got that from him up to that point. Because when they was trying to convince him to join them, it was only the fact that almost Guy Pearce's character had got these morals and was like, "No, you can't tempt these people in." That it's almost like he was listening on the peripheral and thought, actually, he's got a point here, mate.
Yeah, I think most of the other scenes had been with Robert Carlyle there, though, hadn't it?
Yeah.
And I think like when he was obviously separated, you got the true feeling that he didn't want to be there. But I thought that little twist was quite good.
Did you imagine when you was watching it, the prequel to this,
right?
In that he had gone through this same thing that Guy Pearce had, and he had been convinced to join Robert Carlyle.
Interesting.
So you'd almost already had, this was like the second coming of this story.
The second go round.
Yeah.
Almost like he knew who Carlyle was when he turned up.
Yeah.
So are we under the impression? Are we under that impression that he already knew by the time?
I
Robert Carlyle
don't
turned
think
up?
that's the case. I don't think that's the case, though.
Do you not?
No.
You think he got him at
Only
the
because he
cave?
got stabbed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was
But then
just
if
the
he
case-
knew he was going to get fed and he could
Yeah, true.
recover,
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
I mean, for your like highest ranking officer to bring all your soldiers out there is a pretty.
I mean, it's an
What-
interesting read.
what
Yeah,
better
cool, yeah.
cover?
Yeah, exactly.
I think the fact, I tell you what, if Guy Pearce hadn't been able to turn him round at the end, and then for him to say to him, "All right, kill me," if that scene hadn't happened and Carlisle had just killed him without him being aware of it, then I could probably buy into that. But the fact that he was turned round by Guy Pearce so quickly probably means that he had only recently been turned, rather than committed to it all that time.
But it could be more the fact that he's just like, well, this is the situation I'm in. I'm in the middle of an outpost. This is what I've been told I have to do, so I'm just going to go along with it and do it.
Yeah.
If you were dying, would you like someone to feed you human to keep you alive? Would you like that as an option?
How are they cooking it?
No, I mean like it would be raw
Is it
because
smoked?
it was outside, wouldn't it?
I've always wanted to try steak tartare, so yeah, why not?
Would you?
Yeah,
Okay.
good quality though,
Right.
like fresh.
Right.
Not as
If you were going to be turned into biltong, what would be your seasoning?
Ooh, bit of cumin.
Cumin, eh?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'd have to be chili salt.
Oh, peri peri.
Something like that.
Yeah, that nice little kick. Yeah, I'm in. I'm in, Ben. Let's do
Chinese
it.
five spice dipped in a bit of balsamic.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
we could do a plethora of human biltong. There's a market there somewhere.
Hey, there is.
yeah.
I wanted to say something that I thought was pretty interesting, right? You know the scene where that scene I was mentioning where Carlisle and Pierce are talking out in the snow, and he's smoking that cigar for a very long time. Apparently, he went through 65 cigars on that take.
Oh, wow.
And when he got back to his dentist in Britain, he's going for a regular checkup at his dentist, and when she was checking his mouth out, she said, "You have got a hole burnt in the back of your throat." And it was from these cigars, and it took 4 months for it to heal. And he wasn't even aware. It had
Jesus.
burnt a
I'm
hole.
surprised he didn't go green.
Sure enough.
I know, right?
Oh, yeah.
Gross.
Sorry, I just can't stop thinking about human pork scratchings now. I'm always stopping a
we
biltong.
absolutely know who's turning first.
Yeah, well,
And it's Donna Park.
get one of
We know
them
who's
human
going.
scratchings with the hairs on it.
Oh, yeah. Lovely.
Oh.
So you know it's really authentic.
A knuckle.
Yeah, one thing I did see, and it made me laugh because I don't know what, because I was watching it more critically. I was watching how it was filmed, and there was a scene where they're all walking down through the forest, and I kept looking at the snow thing, and that don't look very real. They look like blankets around the bottom of the tree. And there's a scene where one of them gets his foot caught in it and starts dragging a blanket along with him.
No.
Is there?
Yeah, it was
spotted.
fucking... Because I was looking, thinking, they're just blankets around trees here. It looks too wet. It doesn't look authentic snow. And as he walks past a tree, he gets his foot caught in it and starts dragging one of the blankets along with him.
So this comes back to the thing you were saying about some of the sets looking a little bit
cheap. I mean, I can handle something like when they're hacking up the human corpse by the fire. I can handle that looking a bit ropey because it's supposed to look extra bloody.
Yeah.
But it was them sort of things where it showed its budget and its limitations.
I agree.
But that
I
could
agree
be
with stuff
some of the
at all.
charm.
Yeah. It could be some of the charm. I don't think the director thought it's part of the charm because she's on record as saying that was shit. She turned up and thought it was all going to be layered with snow, like fake snow in the areas where there wasn't heavy snowfall when she turned up, and there wasn't. So stuff that was written on the page for them to be walking out into thick snow was just like forest. It was total forest.
It was literally like one of them things you put around the bottom of your Christmas tree. I think they'd put them around the trees.
Terrible.
I mean, I
That is
didn't
terrible.
notice it.
I'm going to show you after. It was,
No.
That would spoil it for every subject.
Yeah.
Spoil the
I mean-
magic.
Yeah, no. I'm going to start pointing out stuff on Karate Kid and that.
You always do, mate.
Oh, do I? Okay, all right. Yeah, try not to ruin it for me, Mark.
It was all filmed in Slovakia, apparently, which I think is incredible because I was convinced it was in Canada. I've never seen anywhere replicate North America so much. And then this is the thing that fucking confused me. It was meant to be set in California. They were talking about the outpost being in California. Since when's California got fucking mountain ranges like that?
Probably snow now, I would have thought, with global warming,
Climate change, Steve. We don't call it global warming anymore.
Flattened it.
Okay.
Yeah, climate change. Thanks.
Do we?
Yeah.
Okay. But, well, I don't know. Why did they go to Slovakia then? They could have had real snow in Canada just across the border.
More affordable, eh?
Was it? Okay.
I imagine.
Yeah, surely.
Shooting there.
Mm.
All the stuntmen, apparently all the Slovakian stuntmen are some of the best in the world as well.
Oh, they-
Not they had all that many stunts in it, apart from that.
Health and
epic
safety
jump.
laws were a bit lower. Perhaps,
Yes.
Yeah,
perhaps
exactly.
Baldwin should have gone over to Slovakia.
It's 24 years old. It's 24 years old.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've got,
Christ.
got people working for me at work that are younger than that.
I know, scary, isn't
It
it?
is. Yeah.
Almost the age of Adam.
Is it?
It is, yeah.
Oh, dear. That's sad, isn't it?
That is depressing.
Yeah. Maybe I need some human blood.
Some scratchings.
Could recover my youth.
I just want to say one thing that kind of I've thought about now. Now we're talking about how the tone is of this film
Yeah.
and like the music they use and how it's almost like this horrific situation has been made into like a jolly situation with like the banjo music and everything like that.
Mm.
And if we're taking this whole film as like being a metaphor for just Americans like taking over the country and eating everything and consuming everything that comes in their way. If we compare it to today and they're seeing that as a good thing and having Thanksgiving and it's just like, yeah, it's all a jolly thing. Yeah. It's all right. We're all looking
Eat.
back and happy about our history and we're eating our dinner.
Fill
and
your
everything.
bellies.
And that's what I kind of see it. You could see this film as that, looking at horrific acts and they're just having fun eating dinner.
He was almost pre-warning of what was coming, because they was talking about the gold rush, weren't they, when all these people just descended and just destroyed the land because they wanted to get rich, and that greed and everyone just flying. It was almost like they was commenting on that part of history because they was waiting for the people on the gold rush so they could consume them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I did like that. The only survivor at the end is a Native American, though.
Yeah, and she's like runs away like fuck these white people.
Fuck this.
It was one of the best lines before that as well, when it's like, if I'm alive after you, I am going to eat you, or if you're dead before me, I'm going to eat you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even still after then, it's like then the major he starts eating the soup, and that's when she's running away. It's like it's still carrying on. It's not going to stop.
I liked the major coming in for the soup as well, unknowing. And it's like, what does that mean? If you have a taste of it and you don't know what it is, does it suddenly give you the taste for humans? Do you on an unconscious level desire
Well, this is
it?
what I think they was going towards, because obviously we had that with Guy Pearce at the beginning when the blood was dripping into his mouth.
True, yeah.
So I think they'd alluded to that at the beginning, and that was how they was ending it, and hopefully for Ravenous 2, which obviously
Ravenous
never
2.
happened.
Oh wow! Imagine.
I like- I
I
like
was
the-
back.
I like the fact that we didn't push on the Native Americans being like, I'm glad that the guy wasn't like, was it Billy out of Predator? Like taking a stand against him and all that.
Yeah.
It just,
Yeah.
they did, you know what I mean? They didn't push him as like this, you know what I mean with Native Americans, that they tend to try and do that. It was just a standard bloke who got killed pretty quick, wasn't
Yeah.
it? So,
Yeah.
rather than that, I quite liked the way they did. I quite like the fact that the woman was the one that lasted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought she was quite good.
But it's also the subtle hints of them being like, oh, you're going to do that job, aren't you? They don't leave them a choice. They're the ones who have to do the job.
Yeah.
It's like when he
Yeah.
says, I need someone to go and get the colonel or whatever his name is. And it's like, it's one of us. Which one do you want it to be?
Yeah.
She's like, me. Yes, I'll go.
It was great, but she just come and shut the door when they were both laying on the bear trap
Yeah.
thing. Just
Yes.
shut the door. Just
Nah.
I'm going to
Brilliant.
leave.
Yeah. I think I'd do that. When you, I've done that when I see a mess the other side of the door, and I go in.
When the dog takes a shit and Jill's going to come down in half hour, just shut the door.
Just shut the door.
She'll deal with that.
Pretend I ain't been in.
Oh, did he? Oh, I didn't notice. Must have been after I left.
The washing machine's leaked, has it? Oh, right. Damn, didn't go in there with his coffee.
You mopped up already?
What would you say favourite scene or favourite moment from the film?
I think I've already said mine. It's when Robert Carlyle does his breathing thing and chases Toffler with the score.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely.
I think looking back at it, I think that is. But I think first time watch, it's the reveals because I think there's plenty of them in there.
The what?
Just the reveals of the different parts of it where you've actually got.
Right, yeah.
So you sort of think shit. But it's just full of iconic lines. I think the lines are better than individual scenes. But the one where he just looks at him and just says "run" has got to be the standout. But just I should do this as a WhatsApp film. Perhaps I'll do it in about 6 months when people have forgotten about it. Because this has got a lot of those lines. I mean, LJ's even got one on his Twitter, isn't he? That's his bio. Is like I said, there was no food. I didn't say there was nothing to eat.
Yeah.
But you can't really find. It's not like this pops up though, is it?
No,
I find
it doesn't.
Because my copy is. I'm sure it is European.
Yeah, I got it from you from Germany.
Yeah, and I don't think I'm not even sure that you can. When I looked before you bought it for me, I couldn't find a British copy. I couldn't find one. It was only the European one that you could find.
I bought it on Amazon, didn't I? As digital, so you can only get it on digital, and even the thumbnail is like some fuzzy, zoomed in bit.
And it doesn't pop up on anything, does it?
No,
it's not. Like
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
Anywhere apart from Twitter.
That's what's
or
so nice about it as well, though. No one's
gem.
really fucking talking about it.
Yeah.
Apart from this corner of film.
Proper little hidden gem, isn't it? And that it's almost like you're in the club.
What was your favourite bit, Paul?
Cannibal Club.
I would say when they've just stabbed Guy Pearce and they're almost forcing him to eat the broth, and you get the classic gif there of Carlisle. And it also, I didn't bring this up as well, but they're constantly talking about quotes from like prolific people in American history, and like saying "waste not, want not," and it's almost like it's almost like alluding to the fact that maybe they ate people too. Kind of thing. This is where the quotes have come from, and it's like they're just doing exactly what the people. Yeah, it's exactly what the people higher up in the government are doing. So why shouldn't we do it as well?
Yeah,
perhaps it is.
But yeah, that was my favorite scene.
It probably goes on in America, doesn't it? In the hills and that, you know.
Yeah,
there's not much that doesn't go on in these backwoods sort of. No, you know, like in the
we don't live far from the Isle of Sheppey. We can't say too much.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
No, but you know, I mean, this shit goes on. You know, you can pay to hunt people if you're rich enough. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Oh yeah, you know it.
You can.
Yeah. How much?
My favourite bit was the monologue when Robert Carlyle says, "I suppose I owe you gentlemen a story," and then he goes on that long monologue of the whole thing. I just think the whole thing is like gripping. As a short film on itself, you could just release that on YouTube without any context to the rest of the film. That 3-4 minute story he tells, the way he tells it, you're in it the whole time.
Yeah,
because at that point you are thinking, "Oh, poor fella."
I know. And the score, like Albin's score alongside that, is brilliant. Do you like the Gorillaz?
No.
Not Damon Albarn and his other projects, but the Gorillaz, because I feel like this was a real precursor to what he did with the Gorillaz.
No, I don't.
No, I mean, I don't.
I probably did, and then radio destroyed them because typically, I mean, I work in an environment, or worked in an environment where it was manual. You always had the same radio station on. They get hold of a song and they absolutely beat the shit out
Hammer
of it.
Mm. Yeah,
I mean, I was into like early, you know, like Vampire Weekend early and stuff like that. It reminded me of that sort of noise. I don't know. There's some other bands as well. I can't think who they are. Clap Your Hands, Say Yeah, things like that. So it reminds me of that sort of stuff from then. I mean, I don't know.
It's so fucking out there, though, isn't it?
Did you find it as music, really? Do you know what I mean?
I can imagine them turning up with this score and like everyone sitting around going, "What the fuck are we supposed to do with that?"
Yeah,
and
you can see how people would not like this, not like the score, right? But we enjoy it, but I can completely see people going, "That's so fucking jarring."
Yeah. It's abrasive. It is, and it's actually really high in the mix as well.
Yeah.
Like, it's not one where they sort of hide it back. It almost takes over the dialogue at points.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Get that vinyl.
Get the vinyl. Get the vinyl stuff.
Yeah, I might do. It's quite dear.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like 30 quid or something. It's quite a lot. Records are expensive nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah.
Worth it, I'm sure.
I've seen you spend 30 quid on a fucking phone screen cover.
There you go. Make it happen.
It's got to be the best one that's on the market.
Well, you know. But no, I mean, I mean, I'd like to listen to it. It's quite weird. When you go on Spotify, there is like a playlist on there, but it's not. You can't listen to it.
No.
It's like not available. I don't know what's gone on there, but it's actually got all of the tracks on Spotify, but you can't actually listen to them. So I don't really know.
You said you've got the DVD of this.
Is it this DVD or Blu-ray? Blu-ray, yeah.
I want it. So the one that I've got is a DVD, which I had bought way back 15, 16 years ago. If you go in the extras, there's 3 commentaries, and one of them, it's 3 different commentary tracks, but one of them is just Damon Albarn talking about the score.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
If you're interested in that,
yeah,
how
definitely.
he came up with it and all that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I might have to have a.
Listening to it, I'd imagine there was some drugs involved.
Surely. That's certainly some cups of tea with at least 3 sugars in, I would say.
Well, shall we go on to our final thoughts and our scores of the film?
Scores. Are we going to do out of 100 in honour of the boys, and then we'll just connect
we'll
it
put
to
a
the
decimal
nearest
point.
9 or 10?
We'll put a decimal point.
Oh, see, I've put mine in there, money.
Have you?
I'm going to have to work it back. I'm going to have to work it back. I'll just take the decimal point out. There we are. I've done it.
All right, there we go.
Me first?
Yeah.
I had it at
go on.
I had it at 83 the first time I watched this.
Did you?
Yeah, 83.
quite
I'm
low.
at 89 now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
So, hang on a minute now. So what does that mean?
8.9.
So that's a 9, Paul, right?
No, I'm putting 8.9.
Oh, right, you're going that specific. Okay, fine. Steve?
So I mean, I've got it as a 93 normally, so for in our scoring system, so it's in my top 5.
Beautiful.
So yeah, it's quite high. It's probably for me sitting in the top. I'm going to say top 3 at the moment, especially after this last watch. I absolutely love it. I think it's brilliant, and a lot of that is the score. A lot of that is the way that the score goes.
That's
to be
amazing.
truthful. Yeah. So there you go.
That is pretty special. So
What's
we've
the
got
other two? What's the other
8.9.
2, by the way?
What favourite films?
In your top 3?
They move around. Naked Gun's still number 1.
Oh,
Brilliant.
wow.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
What? What? Frank Drebin, Leslie Nielsen, comedy genius.
Fantastic.
Paul has
can't-
got your back.
He can't wait for the remake. Liam Neeson, mate, is going to kill that.
And I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Things move around in the top 5. I don't think I could name number 2 at the moment. But that's 1 and 3 at the moment. I'd have to have a think about what's moved into number 2.
Once.
Yeah, it's right up there. Yeah, I don't know. It's there's a few films. I don't know. Yeah, I can't
right.
put a number on it.
Lovely. Well, guess what, Paul? Before we did this, I was going to do it out of 100, and I was going to say 93 as well, if you can believe it.
Oh shit, you're going over a decimal place as well.
Yeah, come on, let's
wow.
do decimals.
Okay. Well,
This is going to shoot so fucking high
It is.
in our master list. It's crazy.
I
Well, that
don't
depends
have
what
a
you do
decimal
here.
place score, so I was just going to give it an 8 because that was what I had it before.
Okay. Yes.
So I'm going for a straight 8. I think it's a great film. I don't love it as much as you guys, but I think it's great. It's an 8, so an 80 if you want to put it as a out of 100.
Who's
All
quick
right.
with the maths? He needs to do the average on the spreadsheet. No one can work that one out.
So the average
We got it already.
is 8.8, which means, listeners,
It's actually 8.9
fuck
if
me,
you
you're right.
round it up.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay, well, listeners, we have a new entry into our top 20 films. There it goes, straight into our top 20. It goes in as our new number 13, replacing the film that is right to Steve's left currently. Midsummer had that precious spot.
Oh,
But it's only moved down to 14. What it has pushed out at the top 20 is another film that's been referenced in this episode today. Gone for Good is Uncut Gems.
Oh, that's
top
hurt
20.
both of us. That has.
look at that.
What
Mid-
it means is John
Midsummer's
Wick
my number
Chapter
1.
3 is
Yeah.
the new number 20. But Midsummer's still in there. It's
Yeah.
our 14th highest rated film on the podcast. Number 13 is Ravenous, topped by One Night in Miami.
Look at that. That's
Although-
pretty special. Top 20
Although,
film.
Things could change again, Paul.
Oh, yes. Yes, they could change again because as we get guests on this podcast, they get to mix up our tables and add a score to any film we've done on the podcast before. So, Mark and Steve, have you got a film you would like to put a score to?
Is it one each?
Yes, it's one each.
Is it? So I'm going to show you what I've got written there.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to change it around. Anyway, so mine is Uncut Gems.
Oh!
You must be joking.
No.
Oh!
It's written here. Look, Uncut Gems.
So you can clearly see that.
Mate, I haven't had as much fun with a film over the last few years as Uncut Gems, and it is actually still sitting in my top 10 films. I love it. I just think it's great. So remember when we had that year of films that it was with Jojo Rabbit, wasn't it, and Joker and stuff like that. It all came at the same time. Uncut Gems just stand out for me, and that's what I had written down at the start, and that's what I stand by.
And what are you scoring it?
What do you mean?
Well, you got to give him a score to alter the standings, Steve.
score?
Didn't you understand the question?
Well, Uncut Gems is, for me, I think I gave it like a 90 when I watched it.
So it's
Or
a
a 9.
bang 9, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what that's done is it's brought Uncut Gems back into the top 20 and it's pushed
There you go.
out John Wick Chapter 3.
Oh, mate. Good job.
That's fair. That's fair enough, isn't it?
It's
You know
it's
what
an 8.8 you brought it up to.
I mean? Good.
It was an 8.7.
Good. Love
Look
it.
at
Love
Look
it.
at that.
So currently it goes Ravenous, Uncut Gems, Midsummer.
Oh,
Yeah. And John Wick is out of there.
goodbye, John Wick.
Goodbye, John Wick.
Good job, mate.
Thank you.
Unless in a stunning revelation, Mark.
Unfortunately, lads, I can't be that predictable or controversial. There is an episode of yours I absolutely loved, and I've listened to it probably 3 times.
Wow.
And it was the Melancholia episode.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
Honestly, I really, really enjoyed that episode because I searched it out after. I didn't realise you had covered it after I'd given it to Steve for homework.
yeah, I remember when you had that for homework. Yeah.
It was a stunning episode and a really great conversation, and I loved listening to it, and it really, really got me thinking, and I want to give it a 9. I know it's not
beautiful.
gonna cause
Beautiful.
ripples, but
It will cause ripples in our hearts.
It will, because that gives it an 8 when you add all our scores up. It's gone from a 7.7 to an 8. So it has brought it up. It's brought up.
You and I have to place it now.
Yes, we do. We can try and place it.
Let's go ahead and try
with
and
these,
place it.
I guess. Anyway, so it's going against the Hunger at the moment.
All right.
So I would say it's above the Hunger.
I would say it's above the Hunger.
Ghostbusters Afterlife. It's above Ghostbusters Afterlife.
All right. Well, Ghostbusters Afterlife is better.
Okay, so it's got to stay below until Adam decides.
Yeah.
There we
okay.
go.
Ghostbusters Afterlife. Trump in Melancholia.
Look at that.
Making
Well-
lots of people happy. I'm sure that.
yeah, I'm happy. I got to listen to your discussion on it. It was great. Even for the people like the guys that liked it more than the others, you still
I
had
loved
really, really great conversation about it.
We did that. Do you know what? The funny thing is, it's them Lars von Trier films that create the good discussions because they're so
sure.
fucking bleak and dark, and it's all about
So many
the
themes.
depths of your mind, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, the OCD.
Such a great film.
The OCD in the house that Jack built was one of the
It was
fucking
amazing.
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was going to be my second choice to change. 'Cause
Was it?
that's really down. That's really down on the list.
I need to watch that again.
Yeah. That episode we recorded very drunk in the early days of our podcast, in the early hours of the morning when we were all together. So we need to just rewatch the whole film because I can't remember anything.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, beautiful.
there we
That's
go.
Ravenous. That's Ravenous, guys.
Yeah, thanks very much for having us on and letting us watch Ravenous again. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not sure that I would have watched it recently if I hadn't. I hadn't even cracked the DVD, the Blu-ray open in recent times. So yeah, I'm really, really happy that I got to watch that again. I've really thoroughly enjoyed it.
I am delighted that it is in your top 3 and that you have
Love
such high praise for it because
Yeah.
I just genuinely didn't know how you boys were going to feel about it. So to hear that both of you were so like enthusiastic with your praise is delightful music to my ears because the film deserves it. It's not like a big film that okay, people can criticize it, but there's enough people that love it. For a film like this, you want everyone who sees it to like it. You don't want people to sort of leave it alone, do you?
Well, yeah. I mean, you probably wouldn't suggest it to a majority of people to watch. But you know, there's a group of people that you know, and you're like, you know, oh, I think you like this one. It's it's like on one of these where you sort of recommend something on a Facebook group, knowing full well that only 10% of the people will like it, but those 10% of the people will get a massive thing out of it. So it's not the sort of thing I'm going to get all loads of people at work to watch, but you know, brilliant film.
Well, you're in the right crowd.
Yes,
you are indeed. Well, boys, thank you so much for joining us. We are huge fans and lovers of MovieDrone, as you know. Before you go, please plug the pod. Tell people where they can find you.
You can get us on Twitter, which is at @movie_drone. You can get us on email as well, moviedronepodcast@hotmail.com. We're on everything, aren't we? You've put us on Spotify.
I mean, we're on everything. We're on everything.
Apple.
Except TikTok, because you won't go on TikTok. You only go.
I refuse to do a TikTok.
You only go on TikTok to do your dancing.
Don't bother trying to get us on Instagram.
I've seen the dances.
Yeah, Steve don't do Instagram. He set up the account and then ghosted it. So everything other than that, we're all on the podcatchers. We've not done the YouTube thing yet, have we?
No.
No one needs to see us.
No. You.
I know. We get the good grace of getting the chance to see you boys every time we record with you.
But you're a lot of good-looking guys. I mean, look.
Mark just looks hairier every time. It's like
longer and longer.
It's like Team Wolf, isn't it? You know what I mean? You're like, fuck yeah, no, it's just gonna get.
His hands are hairy as well.
Yeah,
I'm
gonna pretend our camera doesn't work next time we do something. It's too much.
One last question before you both go. Everyone's got to say one name. Who would you eat first in the situation out of the four of us? Only one name, no explanation.
I mean, we've said it before, haven't we? Paul's the looker.
Yeah, he's got a good mate.
He's good looking, but why does that mean you're going to eat him?
Actually,
there was no explanation, Ben.
We've got standards.
Actually, I'm going Ben because I like to render down my meat.
I've got standards. I'm saying Paul.
I'm going for Mark.
I'll eat Steve.
Oh, they are.
Oh, we're all getting eaten.
The taste of bananas.
If you die first, I'm eating you.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Beautiful.
Thank you,
Thanks
guys.
so much, guys.
Thank you.
No worries. Cheers, guys.
Right, that was wonderful having on, wasn't it, Ben? That was very nice.
Oh, excellent. Everything that was said, I agreed with for the most part, apart from that one particular thing which I really fucking disagreed with, and I wish he hadn't said it.
Absolutely. I kind of hate him a little bit just because he said that thing.
I know. It actually made that
said.
Part of the podcast particularly uncomfortable.
And I was very uncomfortable. I was going to kind of rage quit and just turn everything off at one point.
I could sense it. Well, hopefully he'll think about his error of judgment
and come crawling back to us.
Yeah.
Whichever one of the MovieDrone boys it was, you know
whichever
who
one
you
of
are.
you. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And if you haven't guessed, we're recording this before we even done it.
But I'm sure they were great guests.
I'm sure they were great. Let's tell everyone what round we're starting next and what film we're doing next, Ben, shall we?
Well, we may as well.
Whose pick was it?
This was patron Julio's pick this time round, and long overdue. He has thrown us way back. We've done a lot of films from the 80s and the 90s and the noughties, and we've been talking in secret, me, you and Adam, been like, come on, someone throw us back to unprecedented times. And Julio's done that. He has cast us all the way back to 1951, and he is kicking off the round of 1951 with Alfred Hitchcock's Strangers on a Train. And I'm very excited to see what the 50s have got to offer for us.
I've never, ever seen it, and I've always been meaning to watch it. You've seen it, haven't you?
It was a long time ago, yes.
Yeah.
It's a long time ago, so it almost feels like a new watch for me, to be honest.
That's very exciting. Can't wait.
Yeah, cannot wait.
I haven't actually delved into what else is in 1951 at the moment, so I'm not even sure.
I know exactly where I'm going with it. I know exactly where I'm going, yep.
Cool. Is it my pick? Is it my pick first?
It's my pick first, and then you, and then Adam will seal the deal in 1951.
Wonderful.
Adam is not going to have a fucking clue what to pick.
Probably not, but that's Adam.
I when looking at 1951, I looked at things that you boys had both seen from 1951 to see. So there's a couple of films where there's like crossover where all three of us have seen films from 1951, but there's massive blind spots in that year, and I'll be inclined to go blind spots all the way. But let's see.
Yeah, I most likely do that anyway. I want to see something fresh
from the 50s.
Fresh. And that's thank you to Julio. And speaking of a patron,
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Let's talk about what our patrons have to say this week, what they were watching, the good and the bad, and basically what we should avoid or watch. If you want to become a patron, become a patron at www.patreon.com/filmbusters, and you can become a patron just like the likes of Jason Clarkson.
And you can also join people like Francis Cibarini, who I'm doing the Last of Us podcast with on the side. Not podcast, his YouTube channel. Go check him out. Francis Films, The Last of Us. Go check it out.
You almost made a mistake just like Adam did.
What did I say?
The Francis podcast, whatever he called it last week.
It's because he doesn't have a thing for it. You can't say... Yeah, Francis Films. That's it, right?
Francis Films on YouTube. Go check it out. You could also become a patron, just like the likes of my good friend Andy Bishop.
He's the honeymoon friend.
Honeymoon friend.
And also, you can join the other Ben, but the one from Film Vloggers rather than Film Busters.
Yes, you can. And you can go and join the very people who have been on this podcast, Mark and Steve from MovieDrone.
You can also join the home video hustle boy, Brent.
You can also go and join Mr. Lukey Human, who's on there as well.
Who I'm sure will have enjoyed this Ravenous episode.
Oh, yes, it's pretty much come from him, this pick.
He might
as well have inspired it.
I know, he may as well have. And you can join the ever-loving Sean Panda Nicholson.
Oh, yes. You can join Mr. Nerdrat himself.
You can join Julio, who's kicking off 1951, as we just said.
You can join Mr. Teach, Mr. Jamie Russell.
And you can also join those Rotten Tomatoes, Katie and OT.
Oh, yes. Wonderful. Let's see who we have first. First of all, we have Mr. Sean Panda Nicholson, and he says, "Hello, Busters. Hope all is well in Bustersville, and the streets are paved with happiness and all the good stuff." Well, it sure is. As you can tell, the MovieDrone boys, they've been on our street. They've been paving the streets with happiness with us, so I hope you enjoyed it, Sean.
Hope so.
He says, "Well, for the good pick, I'd say Das Boot. Yes, the nearly 5-hour German submarine epic. Wolfgang Petersen creates such a great sense of claustrophobia and tedium mixed with bursts of action and tension that really had me hooked. I still got about 90 minutes of it to watch. The only way I think it can be ruined is if one of James Cameron's Na'vi turn up. It's a 9 out of 10 so far, but we shall see." Before we move on, I've seen this. Don't remember anything about it. I watched it when I must have been a teenager when I watched it.
It's the fucking war and peace of the film world, isn't it? That's boom.
It's like, surprisingly though, I remember it having a good ending. So Sean has that to come, or he probably has already watched it by now.
Oh, good.
Yes.
It's very daunting runtime, 5 hours.
I know. Let's get into that. Wasn't it a TV series?
Yeah, I think it is.
And they put it together.
Mini-series, and they combine it to make it into a film.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a film that that was probably the longest film I've seen. I think it was that Philippines one that I mentioned in the end
recently,
of year wrap-up.
Yeah.
That was like 4.5 hours. Is there something longer than that?
I'm not sure. You got to take up your day with that though. That's your day sorted if you want to get into that.
I know. Well, fair play.
Fair play, Sean. He also says, "For worst, I'd say Dragon Ball Evolution. I'm a sucker for fighting game films. Mortal Kombat, DOA, Street Fighter, but this is a bit much even for my tastes. I have no idea what Dragon Ball is, and now I have even less of a want to find out. It's not as bad as Letterboxd reviews will have you believe, but it's a bit of a fart of a film. Anyway, love you guys. Keep up the amazing work." Have you ever watched any Dragon Ball?
Never.
So there was this really epic battle. This is the only time I ever watched it. That was out when I was in like first and middle school.
Right.
And it was between Goku and Frieza. They're the two characters. And Frieza was the bad guy. And
naturally,
every episode he was evolving. He kept getting beaten, but he kept evolving into a new thing. And like it was like Pokemon when it evolves into like a new kind of monster. And it was the most epic thing of the time. And I think that's the only thing I ever watched of Dragon Ball. And when I speak to people about it, that seems to be the only thing they watched of it as well. It's like a strange little like small section of Dragon Ball that people just watch for some reason.
Is Dragon Ball Z?
Yeah. It's just like different things.
Right.
I think the original show was called Dragon Ball, and then Dragon Ball Z, I'm guessing, came out around when I was young. In the teens, in the 90s.
My only exposure to that was being in secondary school. I feel like maybe year 9, and it was like an English presentation, and one kid got up and was like, I'm going to present on Dragon Ball Z. And I'm like, ain't you too old for this, brother? You're a teenager. But it would have made sense for you to have been watching at the time, because I guess you would have been like 10 when I was like 14. So that would fit for you. But at that time, I remember thinking, man, what are you doing watching that? No, I'm not shaming anyone for watching at that age, but like it kind of felt like, what are you doing watching this? Because the differentiator, I think, when you talk to people about the kids shows you watched, is when you get older, age difference doesn't really matter. It doesn't seem to matter all that much when it's a few years. But when you go back to what you watched as a kid, like your CBBC or CITV, your experience would have been completely different to mine.
Yeah, sure. I was Cartoon Network boy.
Well, there you go. Look at that. Cartoon Network. I never watched that.
Yeah.
So did you not watch CITV or CBBC?
It depends what shows. Like, I know that's obviously the channel, but I don't know what you were you watching.
Well, you were either one or the other. I was a CITV boy. I was not a CBBS boy.
I might have switched between though.
Oh no, man! You got to pledge allegiance to one.
Well, like, if I was anything, I'd be Cartoon Network. I wouldn't be even one of them.
So, what was your kid shows? Would you say, like when you were in your final year of primary school or first year of secondary school, or as you mistakenly call it, college?
my shows. Yeah, but I wouldn't be, I'm talking about young. Like, what are you talking about?
That's young. 10 and 11.
Okay, yeah. So I'm saying like Cow and Chicken, Iron Weasel, Dexter's Laboratory.
Dexter's Laboratory is the only one I've heard of out of those three.
Yeah. Powerpuff Girls.
Oof.
All that shit. That was all me.
Mine was Nightmare, Bernard's Watch.
Oh yeah, Bernard's Watch. You used to watch that.
Funhouse.
Yeah, that's like the game show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's a game show. Pet Shop.
Yeah.
Hey Arnold. Keenan and
Kel.
Kel.
We watch Hey Arnold and Keenan and Kel. That's Nickelodeon.
Yeah, that's true, because Nickelodeon sort of came along 96, 97. And,
see, if you're going from different channels, right? Man, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Yeah, that was one.
Goosebumps.
That was one. Goosebumps, I don't remember there being a Goosebumps show. I read the books, but I don't remember a Goosebumps show.
It was probably a different channel, though, because if it was... Because they wouldn't have Are You Afraid of the Dark and Goosebumps on one channle.
No,
that'd be
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah. But I used to watch both of them. I remember liking Are You Afraid of the Dark more.
Yeah, Are You Afraid of the Dark was good. Do you remember Nightmare?
No.
That was a good one. It was like immersive. There was a group, 4 or 5 kids, would go to this games master. It was like all Game of Thrones type setting. And the games master had a big beard and all that. And then one of the group of friends would put on a virtual reality helmet, and they would enter these different rooms in this fantasy land, and they couldn't see anything. So the friends back in the mainframe had to tell the one wearing the helmet where to go, where to step, who to talk to, what to lift.
Is it like a game show?
It's not a game show. It was a story. It's like
Crystal. Okay. It's not like Crystal Maze.
It's like Crystal Maze, but if it had a narrative as opposed to just now you do this game. And occasionally, like this flashing skull would appear on the screen and move very slowly towards the person in the room, and the rest of the crew had to get him to step left, step right, forward, whatever. And if the skull hits the kid, you're out. And the thing is, the same team, you'd watch Nightmare, and you could have the same group of kids for like 7 or 8 days. But the minute the skull hits them, they're out.
Oh, interesting.
So sometimes the kids go out day one. Sometimes they're in it for 6-7 days. It was great.
Shit.
Oh,
that sounds like a game show.
It was. Anyway, we spent too much time on kids shows there.
Yes. Thanks, Sean. Thank you.
And then we got Katie and Oti, who said, we took a bite out of 2 shows and not sure on Stonehouse. Never heard of this. Starring Matthew McFadden as the British MP that faked his death. The first episode felt absolute, so not sure what the other episodes will offer in way of storyline. Matthew McFadden, isn't that Tom from Succession?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
I don't even know who this British MP who faked his death is.
No. Is it a real true story?
Sounds it. Let's have a look. Well, I've just seen a picture of this guy, him playing him, and he looks very different to Tom, but he's obviously British. What time, like based on the picture, the image of this guy, It looks like he's maybe late 70s, early 80s.
Oh shit! Okay.
I don't know anything about it. That's informative for me. Faking his own death. I don't know anything about it. The thing that will put me and you off, and most British listeners, is the fact that this was a 3-part drama made for ITV.
Oh, right, okay.
That says it all. That's Katie and Oti. That ain't proper TV. Anything that's made for ITV over here, that's made for the worst of the worst.
You want to have a proper BBC show?
Yeah, drop it out. I understand why they're watching it, because it says here, which chronicles how and why he faked his own death in an attempt to start a new life in Australia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, glad you're watching it and not us, because ITV can fuck right off. Can't stand them. Cannot stand ITV. I don't think they have a single thing that's good.
I like watching In for a Penny.
Forget this. And the second show is called Accused, starring Michael Chiklis in a polar opposite to his character in The Shield as a brain surgeon, if you will believe.
Wow.
I will not spoil the show, you will see if you Google, but the decision for the theme of the first episode was an interesting one, but one that did not land, in my opinion. I will not spoil the show, you'll see if you Google. Should I Google?
Chiklis as a brain surgeon.
Well, I've never even watched The Shield. I keep meaning to watch it, but...
You know who it is, though, don't you?
Yeah, the really bald,
Yeah.
wide-headed man.
Yeah, egghead.
He looks very old. What is the theme? What's the show even about? Brain surgeon, but what?
Brain surgeon.
Based on an award-winning BBC crime series, each episode starts with the defendant in a criminal trial while gradually providing the backstory of what they're accused of doing and what really happened.
And he's a brain surgeon.
Yeah, I'm confused.
Unless he stars in the first episode and that's it.
It's not a series meant to make the audience feel comfortable. Michael Chiklis adds that this is not a series that can be watched passively. What the fuck's that mean? By approaching these stories from the perspective of the defendant, accused is able to take an entirely different approach to the criminal justice system on television. Good. I'm glad you're watching that also. You're watching all these British shows.
Is it British?
Well, it says it's based on the BBC miniseries.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Never heard of the BBC one when it went round.
No. But Chiklis as a brain surgeon is intriguing
Chiklis
enough.
As a brain surgeon. I only know Chiklis from one thing, and that was an episode of Seinfeld in season 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interest. Right, that's everything. That's all our patrons.
Good.
Thanks everyone for sending in. And yeah, if you want to become a patron, go ahead over there. And you can go listen to our episode on Plane, starring Gerard Butler, which came out... Well, it's not even come out yet when we're recording this, but it'll come out soon.
Come out tomorrow, I think. 26, is it?
I think it's Friday.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, no, 26 is Thursday.
Well, go check it out. For the listeners, it'll be in the past, I suppose.
Yes, yeah, it would have already been out by now, I'm sure, for you guys.
But we're about to record it right now.
We are indeed. We hope to see you next time on our Strange on a Plane. Strange on a Plane.
I thought that was going to happen.
I'd watch it.
Our next few films is a plane, then a train, so our next one has to be an automobile film.
Automobile, please.
Well, funnily enough.
Oh.
You'll find out, won't you?
Is it A Streetcar Named Desire?
Well, that is, the streetcar is an automobile, isn't it? That's funny. We're going to find out, listeners.
Filmbusters.